You're looking at some pictures of the victims here. Dwayne Tunstall, Allison Parker, Richard Clark. It was Richard Clark's family member who spoke there in the courtroom and after, sort of giving an impact statement, talking to Kelly, and sort of showing a lot of emotion, tears falling from Kelly's face as he apologized to some of the victims' families, admitted that what he was saying was not going to bring anyone back, but that he was glad to bring some closure. And again, those families now do have some closure, as they have, again, Ezekiel Kelly has gone to prison for 3 consecutive life sentences plus 221 years. Again, getting emotional, saying Poplar changed him. Again, Kelly addressing those victims' families, saying God didn't want him to cause the harm. And he's also waived his right to appeal. Once again, Ezekiel Kelly pleading guilty and has been sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences plus 221 years.
Yeah. What are you crying for? This is something that gets me with these kind of cases where you see someone, whether they're younger or older, really doesn't matter to me. But you're seeing them commit a crime. Not something as like, oh, they just took a lollipop out of a little toddler's hand. Or, oh man, they snatched someone's umbrella. These are crimes, right? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about you murdering somebody. You're killing someone. You know, so it's like when I see stuff like this and then I go and see, oh, I can't believe it. I'm getting 3 life sentences. Yes. Yes. Now, does justice always get served? You and I both know it does not. Okay. But in regards to certain cases, I don't understand how you weren't expecting this. Now you have some people who they commit crimes. The judge may be of a certain religious affiliation, and then they say, just let them go. Okay. But then you have instances where the judge is like, no, I'm going to treat everyone. I don't care what color you are. I'm treating everyone the same. Okay. And in cases like this is what I'm talking about. You thought it was okay to go and live stream a murder, your murders that you committed. You thought it was just okay. Woo out the bam, boom, boom, boom. Everything's perfectly fine. And then you were like, I mean, I know I did it. And I mean, you know, I didn't have any remorse, but can you believe they're actually giving me life? Can you actually believe that they're sentencing me? Like, I thought I was just going to get off. No. That's not how that works. You know, so this is what always gets me, is just seeing how they go and start crying. Like, you didn't just commit this crime. Like, you didn't just go and murder somebody. Now I'm supposed to have sympathy for you. But where was the sympathy for the people that you went and killed? Okay. So that's something I just don't get. At the end of the day, you know, I look at it like this. You know right from wrong. You know you're not supposed. You know right from wrong even when you're 5 years old. You know you're not supposed to kill somebody. You know. You were taught this. At least you should have been taught that. You know that this is not right. But what do you do instead? Instead, you go and say, well, I mean, but I was on drugs. Or I just thought it would be fun. Or my frontal cortex was not. Y'all know y'all ain't supposed to be doing this. Y'all want to live that gangster life. Y'all want to live that hood, YN, whatever kind of lifestyle. And then when you see where it actually takes you, because a lot of these YNs and all these hood guys, you're not seeing them being taken to an elevated level. You know what I mean? Like, you are actually running businesses and outside of 50 Cent getting shot all the time. Okay. You're not seeing that you're a mogul like that. Okay. We're not seeing you own a whole bunch of stuff and never in drama. It's always something. It's always something. Whether your homie died, got murdered, whether you potentially almost died, you know, whether you got shot at, whether someone robbed you, and it's always something. Don't y'all just look at life and be like, I'd much rather have just the basic, simpler life. Why would you want to go and put yourself through all of this mess? I mean, seriously, why would you want to put yourself through all of this? I just don't get it. To me, I don't get the allure of the gangster lifestyle. I just don't get it, and I don't understand why people just keep doing it, partaking in it, and you're in, and then you think you're such a tough guy because you have a gun, you know. And at the end of the day, it's like you're affecting other people's lives. You don't care. You have no remorse. But then when it's time for you to get the judgment day, now it's, oh, me? Y'all, let's go look at these videos.
In this case, there have been several counts. I'm going to go through these counts and make sure that you understand what it is that you are in fact pleading guilty to. In count 1, you would be pleading guilty to the charge of first-degree murder. You would receive a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Count 2, you would be pleading guilty to reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon and receive a sentence of 2 years. That would be as a range 1 release eligibility of 30% offender. In count 3, you would be pleading guilty to the charge of first-degree murder, receive a sentence of life without parole. Count 4, you would receive a sentence upon a plea to the charge of reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. That would be a 2-year sentence. That would be range 1 release eligibility of 30%. Count 5 would be convicted felon in possession of a firearm. You would receive a sentence of 12 years, range 1 at the statutory required 85%. Count 6, you would be pleading guilty to criminal intent to first-degree murder. Receive a sentence of 25 years to be served as a range 1 offender, but at the statutory required 100%. Count 7, you would be pleading guilty to reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Receive a sentence of 2 years, range 1, but at the release eligibility of 30%. Count 8, you would be pleading guilty to employment of a firearm with a dangerous felony. Receive a sentence of 10 years at the range 1, but at the statutory required 100%. Count 9, you would be pleading guilty to criminal intent to first-degree murder. Receive a sentence of 25 years as a range 1 offender, but at the statutory required 100%. Count 10, you would be pleading guilty to reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Receive a sentence of 2 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. Count 11, you would be pleading guilty to employment of a firearm with a dangerous felony. Receive a sentence of 10 years, range 1, but at the statutory required 100%. Count 12, you would be pleading guilty to aggravated assault. Receive a sentence of 6 years, range 1, but at the required 100%. Count 13, you would be pleading guilty to criminal intent to first-degree murder. Receive a sentence of 25 years, range 1, statutory required 100%. Count 14, you would be pleading guilty to criminal intent carjacking. Receive a sentence of 6 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. Count 15, you would be pleading guilty to the employment of a firearm in the dangerous felony. Receive a sentence of 10 years, range 1, but at the statutory required 100%. Count 16, you'd be pleading guilty to employment of a firearm during dangerous felony. Receive a sentence of 10 years, range 1, that's statutory required 100%. Count 17, you would be pleading guilty to reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Receive a sentence of 2 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. Count 18, you would be pleading guilty to reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Receive a sentence of 2 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. Count 19, you would be pleading guilty to first-degree murder. Receive a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Count 20, you would be pleading guilty to the charge of carjacking. Receive a sentence of 12 years, range 1 at the statutory required 100%. Count 21, you'd be pleading guilty to employment of a firearm with a dangerous felony. Receive a sentence of 10 years, range 1 at the statutory required 100%. Count 22, you would be pleading guilty to criminal intent first-degree murder. Receive a sentence of 25 years, range 1, release eligibility, or at the statutory required 100%. Count 23, you would be pleading guilty to employment of a firearm during a dangerous felony. Receive a sentence of 10 years, range 1, but at the statutory required 100%. Count 24, you'd be pleading guilty to theft of property, 10,000 to 60,000. Receive a sentence of 6 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. 25, you'd be pleading guilty to intentionally evading arrest in an automobile with the risk of death. You would receive a sentence of 4 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. Count 26, you'd be pleading guilty to theft of property, 1,000 to 2,500. You would receive a sentence of 2 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. Count 27, you would be pleading guilty to the charge of possession of a prohibited weapon. Receive a sentence of 2 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. In count 28, you would be pleading guilty to the charge of commission of an act of terrorism. Receive a sentence of 25 years, range 1, release eligibility of 30%. So those are the charges that you would be pleading guilty to. Sir, that has been the agreement that's been presented to the court. Sir, do you have any questions about those charges? No, sir. Now, sir, the effective sentence would be 3 consecutive. In this case, there have been several counts. I'm going to go through these counts and make sure that you understand what it is that you are in fact. It's a judgment of the court that Mr. Kelly is guilty of this offense. And the court now sentences Mr. Kelly in count 1 to the to the charge of first-degree murder, and sentences Mr. Kelly in count 1 to a period of life without parole.
Check this shit out. I don't wagging shit on camera. I pull up and do this shit, man. I don't do what them niggas say. No faking. No faking. Hear me? This shit for real. Oh, my mama, Kate, all you think I'm playing? Kate, I'm for sure this shit real. This shit so real, man, guy. Bitch, I'm killing shit for real.
In Memphis, just a crazy, crazy night here, a serious situation. Police were on the lookout for a gunman who would just appeared to be traveling across the city in a car, randomly shooting people and occasionally stopping to change that car for another vehicle, carjack someone, shoot them, and then move on their way. They started off in Frazier at an AutoZone.
Court sentences Mr. Kelly to a period, to the felony of commission of act of terrorism, to a period of 25 years, range 1, at the release eligibility of 30%. Felony convictions resulting in the defendant be rendered infamous. This is an effective sentence of 3 life sentences, consecutive life sentences, without the possibility of parole, plus 221 years, plus the cost of the cause to which let minimums and execution be issued. Court will show indictment.
This is the moment a man was sentenced to 3 life sentences after admitting to a deadly shooting spree that left 3 people dead and 3 others wounded. Ezekiel Kelly confessed to carrying out a day-long series of attacks across Memphis. Investigators say he targeted strangers at multiple locations, fired into vehicles, and carjacked several drivers before leading police on a high-speed chase through the city. Prosecutors charged him with 28 counts, including 3 counts of first-degree murder. They initially announced plans to seek the death penalty, but that was taken off the table after Kelly agreed to plead guilty to all charges. On August 13, 2025, the judge handed down 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 221 years in prison. The agreement meant the families avoided what could have been years of trial delays and appeals. Do you think this sentence delivers justice, or should prosecutors have continued seeking the death penalty? Let me know your thoughts.
When the term YN was created, it was created for this young man here, Ezekiel Kelly. I have no earthly idea how I missed this back in 2022, but on September the 7th in 2022, he decided to go on a rampage and then got on live while he did so. Absolutely diabolical. Glad the judge did go ahead and give him 3 life sentences, yes, plus 221 years. Absolute menace to society. I am absolutely not sure what rock I was under back in 2022, because, baby, I had never heard of this man at all. I'm absolutely glad I did not. I probably would have been devastated hearing about it, even though I was nowhere near it. This happened in Memphis, and he just went off the walls. He ended up taking the lives of 3 people, and then he severely injured 3 other people. He took vehicles. He just ran into random places and started shooting. He was going through it, and he absolutely needs to be where he's at. Underneath the jail would have probably been better, but we'll take the 3 life sentences and the 221 years with no possibility of parole. In no way, shape, or form. He should be scrubbing every floor every single day. That should be the punishment, because I don't know what in earth possessed him to go on this spree and then go on live while you did it.